Hello there, friends! In most Star Wars projects, the Sith regime, whether it is the Sith Empire or the Galactic Empire, is presented as an absolute evil that must be eradicated and forgotten forever. But what if I told you that during the Sith rule, the galaxy often became more stable and safer compared to the Republic? Of course, there were significant downsides to the Empire, but today I suggest focusing on the positives, of which there are many. Let's begin. One of the most significant advantages of the Empire was its ability to bring stability to the galaxy. Prior to the formation of the Empire, the Republic was plagued by corruption, bureaucracy, and political infighting. The Clone Wars only made things worse as different factions battled for control of the galaxy. The Empire's centralization of power allowed for more efficient decision-making and resource allocation, which led to greater stability across the galaxy. The political system was centralized on the core worlds, the wealthiest and most prestigious planets such as Coruscant and Corellia. The other planetary realms were considered to have primitive populations, not fit to hold court in imperial institutions or even govern their own homeworlds. Doing so allowed the imperial government to take direct control over such planets and put them in order. After Palpatine rose to power, he wanted to make sure that peace was restored in the galaxy. Under the Republic, most planets had their own armies, for example Wookiees or Gungans. The Empire decided that this was unacceptable and could potentially lead to uprisings. This matter was especially important during the early years of the Empire, when remnants of the Separatist movement and other anti-imperial factions were still active. Imperial troopers were dispatched on various planets to ensure loyalty to the newly formed empire. The Imperial military made sure that Imperial planets had a centralized defense force that could respond to threats quickly and was 100% loyal to the Emperor. Another benefit of living under the Empire was that it was generally safer than living under the Republic. Palpatine's decision to replace clone troopers with conscripted soldiers allowed him to distribute more enforcers. The Empire had a strong military and police force that worked tirelessly to maintain order and stability throughout the galaxy. Every ship was tracked, each citizen had an identifying chain code, and stormtroopers patrolled every corner. The Empire's strict laws and harsh punishments ensured that crime rates dropped, making it safer for ordinary citizens to go about their daily lives without fear of being robbed or killed. Under Palpatine's rule, the Empire started to improve and strengthen its economy. All economic procedures were now controlled by the government. At the same time, big companies such as the Techno Union and Trade Federation were nationalized by the Empire so that they could contribute to its prosperity. With banks under Palpatine's control, the Empire introduced a single currency, the Imperial Credit, which was used throughout the galaxy. The Empire's focus on order and stability meant that trade and commerce could flourish. The Imperial Army ensured the safety of shipping lanes, while the Imperial banks provided financial services to businesses across the galaxy. In addition, the Empire invested heavily in infrastructure that created jobs and stimulated economic activity. They built new spaceports, factories, and research facilities. Less developed and war-torn planets were restored and upgraded. But what about slavery, you may ask? Didn't the Empire make the situation better? Well, the answer is yes and no. The Galactic Empire initially outlawed slavery, but legalized it under limited circumstances, for crimes against the civil order. Critics of the Empire were subjects to enslavement, convicts and war prisoners were often sent to remote planets like Narkina 5, for example, and were usually worked to death. The Empire also declared some species, for example Wookiees, non-sentient, leading to their enslavement in places like spice mines, imperial factories, and other unpleasant places. While the Empire's strict laws, authoritarian regime, and use of force may have seemed oppressive to some, it is undeniable that the Empire brought significant positive changes to the galaxy. Let me know in the comments, would you prefer to live in the Republic or the Empire? And consider watching this video, as it takes you on an exciting journey into the Sith Empire. See ya!